Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series Spider-Man 2023 wave of retro figures, because it's kind of retro because the card back is similar, but it ain't the same. But two figures out of the wave, Tarantula and Rose, do have the old school throwback Toy Biz inspired card backs. But it's still called a retro wave, which is crazy to me. The packaging looks cool. It's an interesting take. The artwork, I really like the background with the blue web and the purple and pink and orange and stuff all in the background. It's cool, but I don't need it. I like the old school packages because it's going to be throwaway anyway. As cool as these look, to me, it's not necessary. And then the problem with these is we get no Build-A-Figure. I don't like that. I like Build-A-Figures. It's an extra figure. It's nice that we can buy a whole wave and get a little bit of a bonus. This wave, we don't have that, and I think that sucks. This wave also doesn't have a lot of accessories. So it'd be one thing if you have a Build-A-Figure and then not a lot of accessories like the Age of Apocalypse stuff. With like the Sugar Man wave, where like none of the figures had accessories, but you had a big-ass Build-A-Figure to go along with it. This one doesn't have that. In this one, every figure has one extra set of hands for the most part. Only one has like effect. Well, Elektra might have some stuff. Anyway, point is, we're a little lack on accessories, especially Ben Reilly here, how he only has one thwip hand, one wall crawling hand, and two fists. We should have gotten two thwip, two wall crawling hands, but with Spider-Man figures, it seems like that's the route things are going, which is unfortunate. This is, though, however, on the new Renew Your Vows Spider-Man body, which is, I guess, a year old now, which we've seen a couple of times, like, you know, the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man. I didn't bring it out, but there is a couple. We have the Game Reverse Spider-Man, the Black Suit Spider-Man, the VHS packaging, and the Daredevil figure use this same body. Now we have another Spider-Man, and this is going to be kind of the first, I would say, in a regular release, mainline release. The other ones were some kind of exclusive, whether fan channel, whether Hasbro Pulse, things like that. Oh, the Renew Your Vows was a regular one, but that wasn't a single release like this one is. So before we get into the figure and stuff, I did get my set from toysnowman.com, so make sure to check them out. Link in the video description below. It is a referral link, so it'll give you a 5% off coupon code for first-time users in your Frost reward. So Toy Snowman is based in Canada, so do keep that in mind. But they have all action figure lines, not just Marvel Legends. They're really big into DC Multiverse right now, but they also have all your import needs. So Mafex figures, the Hiya Toys G.I. Joe stuff, Mezco even, Warhammer was really popular, Joy Toy Warhammer, so all that stuff you can get at toysnowman.com, so make sure to check them out. Ben Reilly, cool artwork here on the side. The spider logo being off center is throwing me off and it's killing me. Here on the back we get a bio. I like bios. We finally going to get those back. Ben Reilly Spider-Man says, armed with a web-slinging suit and the memories of Peter Parker, clone Ben Reilly protects New York City as the heroic Spider-Man. And this is a fairly newish comic run. I believe this is kind of, you know, he was Spider-Man up until some things went down and he went all bad again because his mind was all messed up and he turned into the villain Chasm. I think it was like that in the start of it. I don't actually fully know. I'd have to go back and take a look, but it is something that's more of a more recent and modern thing. I will do a comparison with this Ben Reilly to other Ben Reileys like Chasm and some of the other Marvel Legends figures that we have. So I'm going to rip this thing open and let's get that Ben Reilly figure out of the package. Okay, so here is the Ben Reilly Spider-Man figure out of the package, and it is, as expected, a good figure because the Renew Your Vow Spider-Man is a good figure. It doesn't have the best range of motion on the diaphragm and everything like the first appearance Spider-Man, The Amazing Fantasy, but this is still a very good action figure release. I was looking at it, I'm like, why is there a black section right here on the arms? Like, that's just weird. Why wouldn't they paint it all the way through? But it's the spider leg that continues to wrap around and things like that. So the design is interesting. We have a big ass spider on the back that is centered on his back. The front, that is not centered. Why did he do that? Although, you know, when we think about it, right? Scarlet Spider, Ben Reilly, this spider was at a tilt and angle too. So maybe that kind of has something to do with it. I'm not sure. And I guess these two don't really show it, but there are other versions where the spider on the hoodie is, you know, smaller and it's off to the side. So like the Mafex figure, as you can see here, the spider logo is off to the side. So I wonder if that has something to do with it, and it probably does. But anyway, this Spider-Man is pretty cool. I always thought, like when it was first shown and stuff, that the head looked funky. It's because the eyes are huge, but the head shape is not as bad as I thought. I thought it was like a ball, just completely round, and the eyes looked funny. But good to know that it is kind of the standard shape that we're used to with just bigger eye lenses. Thank God, because to me it looks super rounded and just looks weird, but that's just the front angle. So from the side, it's not too bad. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at that. Okay, so here is a close look, and as you can see, again, it is the kind of standard shape that you would expect out of a Spider-Man head, although we don't really get the nose portion. It is a little bit larger. I always thought this head was a little bit small. So let's see, like the Renew Your Vows head. You could see is a little bit more similar, I would say. We don't get the nose portion, but the way those lenses are for his face, right? It'd be kind of difficult to do that. And then here is the Scarlet Spider head sculpt. And you can see he always had kind of the big eye lenses there. So the head sculpt is a normal shape, whereas like before it just looks so rounded. It looks funny to me straight on. And again, it's because of how large those eye lenses are, and you could see, you know, how big they are from the sides and stuff. But it looks good. Now, paintwork on mine, I don't have any issues with the paintwork on mine. The black of the spider logo came out pretty good, and it looks like it almost has kind of the print texture to it, similar to like the Symbiote Spider-Man, how the white looked. This is how the black looks. So it looks like it's applied a little bit differently than kind of the standard web lines. And then the web lines on mine, I don't seem to have any issues, although it does, this black line here in the center looks a little funky. But other than that, really no issues when it comes to the paint. It all is applied pretty cleanly, pretty clean lines, no fuzziness or anything around them. So that is good. For me, I am happy with it. I am worried that some out there are going to have issues, but I think that's going to be the same with any Spider-Man figure, that, you know, some may have a problem. Hopefully none do. Now, the figure itself is black and red. Now, looking at artwork for the comic, it looks like there was a lot of blue in the suit, and that's going to be like, you know, is it kind of due to cell shading, or is it just black, or then the blue could be the shading, or is it blue and then the black is the shading? It's kind of funky like that, but when I looked up like images and stuff, it looks like it's very blue. So it's kind of odd that the figure itself is black. I think black and red look cool, but you know, when we think of Spider-Man, we often think of blue and red, as opposed to black and red. So like here with this Ben Reilly Spider-Man figure, a blue and red. So I don't know, I'm not sure if it's an odd choice, or maybe it changed depending on the comic panel, or what the case may be. But anyway, let's go ahead and zoom out for the articulation. Okay, so this is the super articulated body. So Spider-Man can look up that much. He can look down that much. It is on a dumbbell hinge, so there's not a huge amount of motion, but we do get the cut in the back of the neck that does allow that head to go back somewhat, so you can be able to get him to look up as much as you can. Full rotation in there, and you can get some attitude pivot on with that neck, which is the benefit of that dumbbell joint. The arm you can get to go straight on out like so. You get a full rotation in there. We got the butterfly joint, but it's stiff as hell. You got to really work it, but you can get the arm to go back somewhat there, and then getting somewhat to the front for some crossbody, as you can see there. We got the upper bicep swivel, double jointed pinless elbow, which is beautiful. You get that much bend there at the elbow. Wrists swivel, and they do hinge, standard horizontal hinge on all of the hands. We get the diaphragm cut, so you can, ooh, I like that. The spider legs even continue up underneath. I like that. So he can tilt to his left that much. He can tilt to his right that much there. He can go back just on that upper portion that much there. He can come forward just on that upper portion, only that much there. Not a whole lot. You get the swivel at that upper diaphragm cut as well, since we don't have a waist swivel. But we have the inverted ab crunch. So going back all the way is that much, which is a great amount. And then coming forward that much, which also really helps there. We do have the drop down hips, so you can drop the leg down, as you can see there. The legs go out that far apart. He can kick forward super duper high. There is the upper thigh cut in there. Beautiful double jointed pinless knees there. We do have the calf swivel right above the web boot there. Foot hinges down, hinge up, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet, and the now famous toe articulation on the super articulated Renew Your Vows body. So only so many figures have this. We got the Gamerverse, Spider-Man 2 PS5 version, the Renew Your Vows, we now have this Ben Reilly. We have the symbiote suit Spider-Man from the animated series VHS packaging, the Daredevil 3-pack Hasbro Pulse exclusive, and the just revealed upcoming 2-pack of Deadpool and Hydra Bob will use this body, which I think is going to work out great, especially when you can add like a belt and things like that to him. Okay, so here are the Beyond Corporation Spider-Man, the Beyond Spider-Man storyline, I guess, Spider-Man, and then here, Chasm next to him. There's a little bit of a size difference between the two. Like, the new Renew Your Vows body is just ever so slightly a little bit taller, but you can see they kind of work. I mean, the Renew Your Vows body is essentially very similar to the original Spider-Man 2099 body that this one uses. There are a lot of similarities to them, so they are, you know, about the same size, but you can see that we have these two here within the same wave. And now that I kind of looked at some of it, I believe the Rose is also part of Ben Reilly's you know, storylines and stuff when he has this suit. So I guess that's why some of these figures are kind of put together within this wave, like especially, you know, these two really making sense. Okay, and here we have the Mafex and the first Marvel Legends Ben Reilly Spider-Man. There was a second that was released in the Vintage Wave 2 that came with the unmasked Ben Reilly head sculpt. So let's go ahead and see if this head sculpt fits on this new Ben Reilly body. And no doubt in my mind that it's going to fit, but how's it going to look? We shall see here. Bam, there we go. We have our Ben Reilly unmasked Spider-Man, which is essentially the Peter Parker head sculpt with blonde hair, but I mean, that's Ben Reilly for you. That's how it's supposed to be. So it does fit on there, and it does look pretty good if that's something that you wanted to do. Okay, and the last comparison for you here, we have the retro Ben Reilly Spider-Man figure here, where the head is a little bit too small in my opinion, but you know, both Ben Reilly Spider-Man, and then of course the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man, where this body first came from, which is essentially the same as this one here. The big difference is going to be this one has gone full pinless and then has given us toe hinges there. So that is it for the comparisons, but what I want to talk about is these two figures, because the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man got all of the hands. But as you can see, the reds are not the same. They are similar, but they are not the same. So could you switch out the hands? Sure, of course you could, but they would not be the same. The reds are different on there. Now, I would have to go through a tote and bin and pull out all of the hands and things like that to show you guys. So I did not do that. So we only get one Thwip hand, we only get one wall crawling hand. I wish we got two Thwip, I wish we got two wall crawling hands, but unfortunately we didn't. Several figures, this is now happening too. But could these work? Could the hands from different Spider-Mans work? Yes, they could, but without the hands, the reds being matching, it might look a little funny. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys these fists on this figure to see how the reds match or don't match, so you guys can make a decision if that's something that you wanted to do. Okay, so I switched the hands. It's fairly, you can't really tell unless you're really looking at it. So in a lot of shots, you might be able to hide the fact that the hands aren't the same. What you won't be able to hide, though, is the web patterns not being the same at all. As you can see, the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man, which is actually on the Ben Reilly, has a much wider web pattern design, whereas the Ben Reilly, you can see the spider web lines are a lot closer together. Again, it kind of works, but if you really look at it and pay attention, you could see that they are not the same red. But again, you would really have to be paying attention, I think, to truly notice it. So you could use the hands if that's what you wanted to, because since we didn't have a full set. But you would have to use both the hands and not just one of the Thwip, one of the wall crawling, because then it really won't match. Okay, so you guys let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of this Ben Reilly figure? I think it is a pretty good one, but I am still confused by the black and the blue. Which one should it be? And I think that kind of goes along with like some Luke Cage opinions on if his pants were black or if his pants were blue, because the shading that they put on it was blue or black, depending on if the suit was black or blue. It looked blue, a little more blue to me, but you guys let me know what you think down in the comments below and what you think of the figure. The figure is great. I just wish we had full set of hands, 2 Thwip, 2 wall crawling. We do have at least 2 fists, but it leaves you wanting more. But other than that, it is a pretty good release, and I think probably going to be the best figure of the wave. The Elektra Nachio's Daredevil might take that spot, but you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to check out toysnowman.com. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit that join button to become a channel member and be a part of the MCU Collective. And as always, thank you for watching.